Hello. Welcome. We'll wait for some friends to join in before we get started. So we'll just take a moment and I'm going to just gather myself because there's still a few goodies I need to get. All right, I see we've got some friends on already. So today is part 2 of our mixed media fun using the very fun Toil and Texture stamp set. And this one does have coordinating dies. And then we have our Arcane Impressions, which everybody loved. We did some fun techniques with last week's video. And of course, these also have coordinating dies. And then we use the Memory Dex arch. And this one has obviously your base arch. And then this is a really cool pocket, which I'll show you in a second how I use that. Hello, everyone. Hello, Karen. Hello, Samantha and Tracy. Thank you for joining. And then there is, this one's my absolute favorite. This is the Memory Dex. I think it's tall, and it has a pocket. Yeah, Memory Dex Tall Die, and it has a pocket. So, last week, if you missed it, we created these two Memory Decks. So this one has a little tuck area. There's a pocket in here. That's using the Memory Dex Tall. And then our Arcane Impressions and Toil Texture. So we used all the goodies in that. And then we used just the Memory Dex arch. And then we kind of started on this. I showed you how to make your own collage paper. And I think we might come back to this today and embellish this. We'll see how it goes. Then we also created this card. Using some stencils, texture paste, ink, smushing, and the stamp sets, all the fun. Someone's saying there is an echo. Is anyone else hearing that? Let me know. Do you have your speaker off over there, Kev? Yeah. Yes, there's echo. Someone else is saying an echo. Let me know if the echo stops. How are we going further? Kevin's just checking on his end.
Here, I'm gonna go.
Just double checking.
Let me see if I just leave.
Kevin's just going to close out off of the other computer. Let me know if you're still hearing an echo now, please, before we go on. If not, we might have to relaunch.
I think I can just change it.
Oh, you can?
Yep.
Where do I do that?
Go down to where your microphone is. Bottom left.
Yeah.
And then go to iPhone. Oh, it should have been on iPhone. Yep, that's where I wanted it. Yep.
Okay. All right. Let me know if we are good now. Sorry about the echo. Hopefully that clears it up. And hello, Valerie. How are you? There's a bit of a delay, so we're going to wait and see. Hi, Betty. How are you? Kevin is just checking it on his end. Are we good, Kev? Okay, perfect. Everybody's saying I think we're good now. All right. Well, sorry you had to endure the first 4 minutes of echoing. So before I go on, I had a friend over this weekend, and I was playing with the Memory Dex dies. and I decided to. I'm going to attempt to do either 12 days of Christmas or a Christmas daily. So I made this box just out of chipboard and some reusable straws that I just cut down. But I created this little memory decks using, I used this one right here. I just used the Memory Dex Tall. And this one has a pocket, obviously, and a place where I can put some pictures or write a little bit. I was thinking I'd probably put a picture here, and I could put one in on the inside or journal or whatever. But yeah, I just used things from some paper pads. You can't really see it because it's covered up, but I used a gel print piece right here. Some leftovers from the Tim Holtz Christmas box. Yes, Joyce, you were the friend. So that's what I created. And obviously, this has two. It was going to be, I was going to start 12 and work my way forward, but I didn't like how 12 looked on this. And then well, maybe I'll start with one. Well, the number one didn't look good either. So that's why I started with two. So yeah, and eventually I'll embellish this too. Who knows? Maybe I'll use some of my pattern papers and textured backgrounds that I create this weekend. And let me show you. I've had so many people ask me about this piece. So let me grab and show you because I was able to put it to use this weekend. So I had created this Memory Dex card a number of months ago, and I have that Heidi Swap Memory Dex punch. I attempted to use that. Well, it's not great for me anyway, for thick. So this Memory Dex was popping out all the time. So as you can see, I just used this piece and created a new Memory Dex. The purpose behind this piece was we all get so many cards from friends. So we can literally, if we want to keep them, just cut this piece out, attach it to the card however way you want, and you can kind of keepsake Memory Dex it. So that's another option for that. All right. Julie says that's awesome. I need directions how to make the box and where you got your wood from. This is not wood, it's just chipboard. Literally, I just used chipboard off of Amazon, created the 4 sides, and then I just did strips of paper that I created tabs, layered them on top of each other, and I did my best. You can see I didn't cover this part, but these are just reusable straws from the dollar store, which, if I'm giving a hint, our final class that we do is I'm going to be using straws for something. But yeah, maybe we can one day. I'll do the Memory Dex box. I'll create it and show you how I did it. But it's super easy. This was my first attempt at it, and it won't be my last. So yeah. All right. So are we ready to get into some gel printing? What am I missing? Some messages. Let's see. I need people to start sending me cards. And Betty wants the Memory Dex dies. I love them, Betty. They're just so awesome. Okay. So I am going to move my goodies out of the way. And I'm going to go over what supplies I am using. All right. So, most importantly, we need a gel press or gel plate. Just get this. Hello, Roslyn. How are you? Fancy seeing you here. Okay. I'm going to close the door. Kevin says to close the door. Okay. So I have, this is an 8 by 10 gel plate. And then I also, this was my first one I got. This is a 6x6. So whatever size you have is great. I prefer the 8x10 because I can just do one shot goes. I use 8.5 by 11 paper. I get more out of it because I like to do the full sheet, and I'll show you in a second, but I take all my backgrounds after. So this is a quarter of a 8x10, and I just cut them into sections, into 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card fronts, and that's how I'll go through them, look at them, and I'll die cut out of them or whatever. Use them as backgrounds. Like here is a couple of cards. This one is using a gel press background that I created. And it was literally just, this is the gel print. I added some black lines, embossed sentiment, did some little colored pencil embellishments. Here's another one using a gel print card background I made. I stamped a little background image, used some texture paste, die cuts. The bats are gel plate prints. So yeah, I love my gel plate. Oh, my parents are here watching. Hello, Mom and Dad. What type of paper do you use? Great question, Karen. So there are people that will use printer paper, and if that works for you, that's great. But I like to die cut out of my gel prints, so I like to use something with a little bit more substance. So I use an 80-pound. I was just using like the Recollections, from Michael's. Use a coupon. It's not too expensive. But a couple of months ago, I went into Staples, and they had 80-pound cardstock that was a bright white. That's the key. If you want the brightest white, the cleanest white you can find, because the Michael's Recollections cardstock is great, but it kind of tends to be more on the creamier side when you're looking at it. And this paper, it's a Staples brand, 80-pound, although it doesn't maybe feel as thick as some of the 80 pounds. So I'd guess it's maybe like a 70 or 75, but it is great. I really like it. If it's too thick, I wouldn't go. There's no rules to anything. I wouldn't go too thick, because then it's hard to get your impressions. Okay, so nice white paper. You can use really anything that'll pick up and hold. I've seen people use crepe paper and tissue paper, butcher. What can I think of? Freezer paper. Anything that'll pick up and hold. So we've got a gel plate, paper. I need a sprayer. As you can see, this is much loved. And then today I'm going to use my paints. I love my Liquitex Basics. You can use Distress Oxides if you want. You could use regular distress inks. You can use your distress paints, literally whatever you kind of want. I wouldn't use anything that's like a solvent-based ink. I think that might damage your plate, but I've never tried that. I pretty much like to stick with the paints. I just like how they look, how they turn out. And what else am I missing? Oh, and things to add texture. So before this live, I quickly ran out, grabbed some leaves. So I think we're going to do something with that, because the leaves are really starting to fall here in New Brunswick. I want to have just some scrap. This is just a flyer that I'm going to use to rub off to get the paint off. I'm just going to put it on this flyer. Another piece of texture I love is bubble wrap. Oh my gosh. Bubble wrap is your best friend. You can see I've used this a lot. I have, you know, that soft packaging material. What else do I have? What do we got? Oh, yes. Some cardboard that I ripped. Just think of little things that you can add. I've got more packaging material, nice crinkle. So that's just kind of a start. Let me just move some stuff out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to grab my gel press, and let me just get this up a bit taller so we can get the full amount in here. Okay, so I'm going to grab my gel plate. I keep it in the package, and I am going to just take the protective corner things off. You don't have to keep them on. I do. I'm just going to, let's put this on the white so we can see this more. What some people like to do is they'll put a piece of paper behind it that they're going to, if I'm going to be using 8.5 by 11, they put the 8.5 by 11 so they can help line up, but then it's not, this isn't going anywhere. So I am going to just put it right on my table. I have it on the white. Yes, you can see they're having a summer sale that obviously this was around June when I grabbed this. Okay, so your first pull that you take isn't always your most exciting one. So I'm just going to grab, I took inspiration from, where did it go? From the colors we used on the back of this. So I have some purples, some teals. I'll probably put a bit of black in there. So I'm going to just do a little bit. This is, oh gosh, dioxazine purple. I don't know if I'm saying it right. And I am just, oh, Kevin, if you can hear me, can you bring me up some paper towel? Because I will need some. So I'm just going to put a few little bloops on here. You don't want to put too much, but you don't want too little either. I'll be able to tell in a bit. So I'm going to go, this is a bright aqua green. Yeah. I'm going to just put some of this on. And then I'm going to use my brayer. I'm going to get this out of the way. Okay, so I'm just going to mix it all in, get it all together. Okay, and you don't want it on too thick, and you don't want it on. I'm glad. You don't want it too thin or too thick. So I'm going to just run this off now on my scratch paper. And my first one, like I said, isn't my most exciting. So I'm just going to put it down, rub my hand. And I don't care if I get it all out, but we'll pull. And there's our first print. That's kind of cool. But it gets more magical the more goodness you leave behind. So I'm going to set this piece aside to dry. I actually really love this. And I love the bit of the graininess that's left behind. I just love texture paper, gel print plate. Okay, so I'm going to set that over there to dry. Now let's get, let's pick, I want to grab a pink now. Let's just see what happens, because we have this is going to be on the forefront now, what's left. So I'm going to grab a little bit of pink. I can tell I've used pink a lot because there's not much left in here. So I'm going to add a bit of pink, and let's add a little bit of black in the center. I'm not going to overthink this. And let's just do some white at the bottom. We'll get gray then. Okay. Okay, now let's brayer this. Hello, Timothy. How are you? Yes, I love the ghost images, the ghost prints that you get. Okay. All right. So I'm just making sure my plate is covered, and you don't necessarily have to go either way, like horizontal, vertical, whatever works good for you. Okay, let's take a pull. And I'm purposely not going to try and grab all of the background. I want to leave some. Let's see what we get. Okay, so here's our second pull. All right. Now, while this is still wet, I'm going to use some of my bubble wrap. Put that down. And I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of pulled some of the paint up. And I want to do, let's do a green. Do I have a green on hand here? Do I need to go? Let me grab a green. Let's use this is Hooker's Green Hue Permanent. And I'm going to put some of this on. It's probably too much. Put a bit of white at the bottom. If you use too much, it'll make your paper want to slide. Okay. Oops. Okay. Okay. And I think I used too much, but I'm going to just do multiple pulls from this one. So let's just pull. This is a fun thing with gel plate printing. You never know what you're going to get. And if you're going for something, sometimes you get it. Most of the time you don't, but you get something cool regardless. So I'm just really pressing down. Does anybody have any questions at all while I'm doing this? Let's pull. Okay, so that's okay. Nothing super exciting, but you can see this is what I love when you start to get some of the leftover bits from the other plate. So I'm going to do another pull right away. I'm not going to add more to it. And this is when you start doing multiple pulls, you start getting really cool stuff. So I just want to make sure this is pushed in really well. I'm just going to grab my stamp press. Okay, let's see what we get. Ooh. Look at this. Love that. And we got where there was a bubble on my plate. Sometimes this will happen. You'll get a bubble from leaving the packaging on. I don't care though. I love that. What do you guys think? And then what I like to do, what I was saying, is I'll cut this down to card front sizes. And that kind of helps. You can look at it, but I freaking love this. This is so cool. Okay. So we don't have much left on the plate. So let's just grab, I'm going to grab some brown. Put some brown on, and let's do some gold. Put that. And we'll do some black. This is going to be our first layer. I want to play with those leaves next. Okay. So I'm going to... So I'm just working the plate with all the paint, make sure the paint is on here. What I like about the paint is it tends to be a bit more opaque, where like inks and stuff are a little more transparent. Now the oxides certainly will be more opaque. I'm going to try the leaves now. So let's put some of these leaves on here. I'm going to put them vein side down. Okay. We have 2 different maple trees in our backyard, and these ones are from our lilac bushes. And we'll just put that. Okay, let's just... were you able to pull layers from the last print, but the press before that, just the top layer? Yes, so you start to really get magic, Valerie, when you start pulling multiple pulls from one press. If you just keep inking and pressing, you're going to get like what I got with the first 2 pulls. But when you start inking, pulling, and then right away do another pull, or add some texture, do another pull, keep pulling until your plate is getting clean. And I'll show you. This is what we're going to do here. So I'm just trying to make sure this is on. Now this is going to be neat in itself. So we have this, and you can see it's got kind of a bit of gold. There's a lot of white space. We'll save that for later. Now I'm going to take these off, and if you can see, I have some beautiful remnants of the leaves on there. So let's take that off. And it's mixed with the colors. This one's going to be really gorgeous. I'm going to set this. These are going to be inky. I have one of these fans. Let's hope it's charged, because I want to let this dry a bit before I put my layer on, because if I would just put paint on this, I might smush it. So is this still... Just going to dry this. This is just a dollar store, one of those coolers, you know, that you can blow on yourself on a hot day. So I'm just going to dry this a little bit. You can see there's some grunge from a couple of the other layers. Do you ever rotate the papers for a later pull? Yes. That one we just did, Karen, this one, I'll do another pull on that. I'll add on top of it. This one I typically would pull, but I kind of like this. This is neat for a background on a card. So they don't always have to be works of art. Okay. But they're always usable. Now, how do I turn this off? There we go. Okay. So this is pretty well dry. So let's grab some. I'm going to do yellow at the top. And I want to keep the colors kind of lighter. So I'll do orange at the bottom. And maybe a little bit of red. Okay. So now we're going to get a really cool speckling of background on here. Let's get this all covered. Make sure it's nicely. Okay. Let's run this off. Okay, let's do a pull. Now this first one, we might not get what we want, but let's find out. Just gonna press this down and just ask questions if you have any. Okay. And you can use stencils on your gel plates too. So don't be afraid. I should have had a basin of water and I would have done some stencils with you today, but I do not have water at the ready. Okay. Okay, let's pull. Let's see what we get. All right, so this one is okay. Nothing spectacular, but look what we have left. Let's do another pull. We're not going to get, but I want to do another pull. I want to dry this just a bit. And I'm going to put a very thin layer of paint on next. Let's go for some black and brown. I'm going to just go for black and teal. I don't know. I'm going to just go for something totally different. I want to get those. Probably had a bit too much. Okay. Okay. I want to do 2 quick pulls because I'm hoping I can get some of those leaves. If I don't get the leaves, I'm going to do a pull right away. And sometimes you just have to leave the paper on a bit longer too. So maybe I'll do that. Let it dry a little bit on. I'm going to lift it up and see if we're getting... This one has too much, but I'm going to grab another pull. Here's what we got, which is very cool. I'm going to grab another pull right away. This is what I was talking. Was it Valerie that was asking about doing one pull and inking or doing multiple? So the more you pull, the more juicy backgrounds you get from one image. We'll start to get the ghosting images. Okay. We might even, let's just see what we get. Ooh. Okay, now we've got some leaves. Look at that. And we still got some stuff left over, but I love that. That is cool. You know, there's like a bit of the gold in there. But I just love, the more pulls, we went from this to this. Actually, here is the way it was. You can see the leaves outlined there. So 2 different looks. Okay. Let's do some more texture-y things. I'm going to mix in some white because I'm seeing we've still got some goodness left over. Let's do a bit of this green. I don't know. I don't think too much. Just I'm grabbing gold now. Okay, that's probably more than enough paint for on here. Yeah, there's probably too much paint. Like I said, I think I've been getting mine a bit too full. I'm going to take a bit off. And sometimes just putting it on, rubbing off on the actual paper is great too. So I'm going to grab some of that bubble wrap, and this will pick up some of the paint from my other pulls. And let's go with, I'm going to grab just some of this packaging stuff, and I'm going to just kind of hit around the corners, maybe a bit in the center. And let's do a pull and see what we get. Actually, yeah, we'll do a pull with this. See what we get. If you used oxides with this technique, would you have to use reinkers, or could you use the actual ink pad? You could use the reinkers if they're shaken really well. When I've used oxides with my gel plate, I usually just use the right off the pad. Just again, you want to make sure your pads are really juicy. But 2 Christmases ago, Kevin got me the Liquitex Basic, the sampler set, and I am still using it. I think it was like it's $100 and something for in Canada. I don't know what it would be in the States, but it has just, and the colors, I'm nearing the ends of some of them, so I know right away I need to get the bigger tube of it. Okay, I'm gonna lift. Ooh, look at the texture. And there's still goodness on here. So let's do, I want to do some, let's do purple. Let's go back to purple. I'm just going to do a light layer of the purple. I want this to be very light. Ooh, I like this already. Okay, let's just pull and see what happens here. I love the bubble wrap. The bubble wrap just gives the perfect. I use it way too much, but I love it. Okay, let's just see what we get. And honestly, there is so many techniques you can do with the gel plate. I could just be here all day. So this is what we got with this one. I love and you know, like I said, this doesn't maybe look extremely spectacular, but I like to cut them into 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch sheet card fronts. And that's my base for a card like this. You add some stamping on it. Maybe that's what we'll do with one like this. This is perfect for stamping on top. Adding texture paste. So what did Karen say? Once you get started, you could easily go through a ream of paper. So cool. Exactly. And that's what happens, Karen. You have boxes of backgrounds. This was from just my last sitting, and I cut them all into 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch. Like, some of them are quite simple, but look at this one. I just used the tube. Just that was my texture on there, and it was like just a simple pull. Here is a really fun one. We got a stencil in there, some bubble wrap. What else? Where is there some? I love this one. This is where I've done a couple of layers on top of it. Maybe we'll do that with one of our backgrounds now. I'm going to grab one that maybe isn't. So let's grab this one. But I'm not going to do a pull right away. I want to do a thin layer of black and maybe a little bit of yellow. Okay, so let's get this. I'm just going to do a thin layer. Okay. Okay, let's quickly we'll go back to this bubble wrap. We'll pull, love it. And I'm going to, I have to move kind of quick. I'm just going to put this right over top. Okay. Just press, let's see if we're getting, oh my God. Are we ready? And if you're not getting all of something, put it back down, rub. Look at that. Oh my God, I love it. This is awesome. That is so perfect. Let's go back to this. I want to do another one of these with the leaves. Okay, let's grab this one. This one, there are the leaves. We'll do another layer of leaves, but I want to go with the black. Or let's do white. I think white on top of this would be cool. Okay. Do a fine light color or coating of white. Okay, and let me just grab my leaves. We'll just pop them on. And I'm putting them the paint side down in hopes that it will leave some of the goodness on there. And let me just I'm going to grab this background. And we'll just rub. So I can't remember if it was Valerie or Karen that was saying about taking multiple layers. Okay. So look at what that did now. So that's okay. It's neat. I feel like this could use another layer, but it's really dulled down that kind of the black and the turquoise that was there. Now let's lift this up. So we have our leaves. And I'm going to try taking a press on it right away using this background. So like I'm just pulling up, I'm seeing I'm not getting everything, pressing. So then we've gotten some leaves. And we do have a little bit on here. Now I'm wondering, I love this. Let's do a light coating of yellow. I'm just thinking of layers now. So I want this to be one of those very light coats of yellow, just faint. Okay, grab our trusty bubble wrap. And hopefully this will pick up some of the residual paint on here. It did not. And let's grab this. And I'm going to just lightly, I don't want this to be, and you could just barely see it, but it's just giving it a little bit extra texture, not feeling as flat. I love this. Let's take this one and add that on top of it as well. So these are both getting a third generation Looks like ghost leaf face red heart shape. Yes. Let's see what we've got here. Again, this is giving it just a little bit. Now this has dried. So now let's grab, we're going to have some really cool texture here. So I want to use, let's do some brown. Brown is such, you know, when I say it, it kind of sounds so boring, but let's mix it with some, I don't know, we'll do this fuchsia magenta kind of color. Okay. You can use sprays on that paper, and it or will it? Can you use sprays on that paper? It won't hold the sprays because on anything that will stick to paint when you're using paints, that's pretty much what you're limited to. So like when I stamp on top of these backgrounds, I'll use my like StazOn, or I use archival ink. I love my archival ink, Tim Holtz archival. Okay, I want to add some more texture goodness to this. I'm going to use just some packing paper. Just going to put it on. Ooh, that's perfect. Okay, now let's do a pull and see what we get. And let me know if you want me to do a few more. And then I think we've been going at this 46 minutes. I wonder if we should start creating using our backgrounds. Let me know if there's anything you want me to try, I guess, first. Is there anything you'd like me to see? Some colors used? Let me know. Speak now or forever hold your peace. But gel plate, this is just a dipping the toe in the water because there is just so much you can do. You can sprinkle water on paint and let it sit. You get a really cool effect. Look at that. That's cool. This, I want to do a light coat of some black and gold. I'm going to try and keep okay, so we're going to have kind of like a metallic black. Can you use one of the stamps on it? You can. You could use, you'd have to clean your stamp right away if you were using paint, but if you're using oxides, you can totally stamp and you'll get the reverse image of it. I'm going to go in with my precious bubble wrap. Some blues Valerie would like. I will grab some blues. Okay. So I'm just going to do a pull now. So I'm doing multiple textures, slowly building up the textures. Yes. Oh, that's just what that needed. Look at that. Love that. And then just imagine when we do some texture paste with stencils, stamp our from the Toil Texture stamp set. You know how we have that kind of burlap and that on there. Imagine layering stuff. I love this one, and you can't. I don't know if you can see, but it's iridescent. All right. Now this one, I feel like it needs something still. So I'm going to grab a paintbrush. Let me just see if I can find one. We'll use this guy. I am just going to put a bit of paint on the edge up here, maybe. And let's just paint some bits on it. And quickly, let's do a pull. And actually, maybe we want to do a little bit of this magenta. If I can be quick enough, I don't want this to dry. Okay, I'm going to do a quick pull. See, another layer on there, like that. Okay. Let's zhuzh this one up a little bit. Do you clean your gel plate? I've watched videos where people don't, and I can't stand leaving it dirty. I will get as much paint or whatever's on it off as I can with the last pull, and I leave it. Because those little bits of grungy yumminess that stay on the plate add to your backgrounds. It's kind of like a patina you just can't duplicate. So Valerie wanted some blue. So let me grab a blue. We'll go with this blue. Okay. And I'm going to just ink that on. I'd like this to be kind of faint. Okay. And I'm going to take this cardboard piece. And I'm going to keep stamping it. I want to pull from my plate, and this is going to kind of press it around, creating lots of texture. Let's use, where did that piece go? We'll lift a bit of it off using this packaging. Okay, and let's put it on top of this background. And there's a bunch of things you can do too. Like when you get those backgrounds like this, which are very light, let it dry. See, I don't want to keep you on for like 6 hours, but if you let it dry and then add another layer, oh my goodness, you get some amazing things. Okay. So there we go. This has picked up a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's getting there. I want to just pull and see what happens with this. There won't be much on here. So yeah, this is very faint. So, but now this is dry. So this is what I'm talking about. Like if you let things dry a bit, I'm going to set this one. I want to come back to this. If you let things dry a bit, let's go with some white. And let's go red. Okay. I'm going to do 2 pulls from this, but before, let's take our bubble wrap again, because we love how that looks. We'll grab this one that was kind of meh. Let's pull quickly. I'm hoping we get some. Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. So now we've got kind of the hints of blue in the background. I love that. Now let's go on top with this one again. And let's see what we get. And then I think after this, we'll start doing some creating. Okay, very cool. All right, let's just do one last pull, and I'll let this one sit. I'm going to just go with, let's do green and blue. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions, because we're getting to our final pulls. And you know what? Just for fun, a little bit of gold. Back to our okay. We'll pull. What paper did you use? You could use your lower weight hammer mill. This is just from Staples. It is like they said it's an 80 pound, but you want a bright white, smooth paper. That's not. I wouldn't use you could use 100 pound if you wanted, but I just want something that you can press and lift. It's thin enough that you can still pick up all the paint. If it's too thick, it gets a bit harder. So this is just a Staples. I went to Staples, looked for something that was between 60 and 80 pounds and had the brightest white rating. If you look on the packaging, I wish I had saved what brand this was. All right. Let's just see if we're getting, oh, wow. I love this. There. Tracy, sorry, I don't know if I'm saying your name. Is it Tracy? Laugh out loud. Maybe your final pulls, you're on roll. And that's the thing. You got to keep going with it. So look at this. I'm getting so many different layers here. As you keep pulling, it's good to just keep going because you start to get a buildup of all the different layers, all the different colors. I'm echoing again. Let me double check. It still shows it's still my phone. So yeah, lots of goodness on there. And I am going to, let's see, I'm just going to grab this one, and there's a little bit left on there. Oh my God, it's Trey. Hello. Sorry, Trey. I am glad you are on a roll. Yeah, so I will leave that piece on. I know that'll probably drive Betty nuts, but that's goodness for next time. So let's go over what we all created. We've got some, I'm really happy with these backgrounds. So we have the leaves. This one I think we did, this was a 2 or 3 layer. Then this one was a multi-layer. This was, I think, our second one. That was the pink one, and we kept layering on top. I love this one. Wouldn't this be cool with to make some Valentine's cards with? That's coming up. Anne and I were just talking about Valentine's today. I love this one. There's just so much to look at. This is fun. This one's kind of 80s. We have the leaves, paintbrush strokes. And I love this one too. Lots of texture here. This one we use the packing paper, the bubble wrap. I think there is something else with this one. Can't remember. Love that. This one is awesome. Love this. with the leaves. And then I love this one too. This was just a 2 print, the negative, and then we overstamped to get rid of the white space. We have just a basic purple. This one, there is some greens, bubble wrap. Love that. This is really fun too. And then we have this was our first bowl we did here. And then a green. So I'll just go over it all once more again. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Lucky number 13. How appropriate is that for a Halloween class? And each one of these, I could technically get tons. Like, I'll just use some of these just to die cut out shapes, full card backgrounds, memory decks. Yeah, I got tons of more paper to add to my collection. So let me just throw my plate away. Does anybody have any questions? Gel plate is just such a fun process, and I bought one years ago and I was too afraid to use it until finally I was just like, screw it, I am going to play with this. And I was like, why did I wait so long? I got my friend Joyce hooked on gel plate, and she does beautiful gel plate backgrounds. All right, so everyone, I want you to tell me which background you'd like me to play with. So we'll go through. You'll have to describe it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So let me know. And I'm just going to move some of this stuff out of the way. And let me know if you want me to do a, should we do a card, 4 or 6? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 or, so these two, Valerie, this one and that one. 4, 6, or 11, 6, 7, 8. Oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That one is gorgeous too. 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. Okay. And the next one we'll decide. I think the winner is 4, 6. 4 is the winner. Looks like 1, 2, 3. This one's the winner. Okay. And I want to play with, let's grab, which is the one I really love. We'll go with this one for now, 1 or 13. Okay, let's go with this. All right. But before I do that, I'm going to show you what I like to do. So here's one. I know this one I'm not going to want to use for a full. Here, actually, let's do. I'm going to take one of the more plain ones. This one, for example. Okay, so this one, there's not like, there is some texture. This one would, I feel, is a background builder where I stamp and add texture paste. So I like to take these and cut them down to card front size. So 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 is what I will cut them down to. Okay. And you can play around with it, you know, what looks good. But you got, and then you can look at it. You know, I kind of like this smooshing. This looks kind of spooky. These kind of almost look like ghosts or people's heads. You could do some Zentangle on top, but I like that one. So I'm going to grab that. And then I also think I want to cut down. Let's do, kind of want to do another one of these guys. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out of craft paper. I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to cut this out of craft paper first. Because I think I want to do some, and I'll tell you why in a second. Let me just cut this out. Okay. So I've got my craft card stock. I'm just going to get this in place. And I'm going to cut out another piece. And I think, let's go with that. And I think with this, I want to layer this piece on front. I want it to all be, I really love this. So I think we'll run that through the die cut machine. I'm going to just cut the excess off. So you can't be precious. Everything you can use later. I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. Okay. So I got using the arch. There is my base piece. And there is this. So I want to layer this on top. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and just cut the bottom of this off because I do not need it. So I'm just kind of auditioning everything. And do I want to layer? Now you could use this on its own. And Okay. All right. Okay. So we're going to work on multiple things at once. This is going to feel like crazy. I am going to grab my stencils. I'm going to grab some texture paste. I'm going to use and I never showed this technique. And Kevin, if you're listening, I'm going to need you in a second to clean up a stencil for me when I'm done. So I am going to take some Distress ink black soot, some texture paste, and a palette knife. I am going to smush some texture paste on my tonic mixed media mat. I'm going to grab some texture paste and I'm going to mix it in with the ink, and I'm going to create my own tinted texture paste. And you know what else we're going to do? I am going to grab some glitter, if I have access to glitter. This is the Nuvo Sparkle Dust, and this is, I don't know what color this is. This is in Black Magic. Perfect. So I'm going to work this all in. So I'm creating my own tinted texture paste, and it's also going to have some sparkle. This is another technique I really like to do. So I'm going to add in some sparkle. Work that in. Okay, I'm going to add, I need more sparkle. And it's giving it a nice gritty texture. Okay, so let's take this background. Actually, I'm going to do it on the Memory Dex. Let's go for that. We'll put a little bit around here. And we've got to use all of this because you can't put it back in the jar. Okay, so this is just a spider stencil that came out years ago. So we've got that. And we'll put, actually, I don't want to put it, let's do it on this card front piece. We'll put it right here. Okay, there we go. That's looking very cool. And I'm going to give that to Kevin to clean. And I'm also going to just, while this is wet, let's sprinkle a little bit of the glitter on, and it'll dry in. Look at that. And we'll do the same with this. Let's just try not to waste. Yeah. Very cool. And I'll just get a little bit up here. And you know, I swear glitter multiplies. Like, can you ever really use all the glitter you can have it? And it's like 20 years later, you still have glitter. It's like a rabbit. So I'm going to just clean this up. And if you're using texture paste with your stencils and stuff, make sure you clean it up right away or it will ruin your stencil. Just going to clean this up. I'm going to have glitter everywhere. What does everybody think of the texture paste with tinting it? And you can put that, just put it in the bathroom for now. Yeah, I don't need it anymore. So I'm going to set these aside to dry. So here's what we have so far. So we're going to work on a Memory Dex. And this is what I'm thinking. Kind of, this is going to go here. This is going to become my new front. So I'll have a Memory Dex and a card. Love how that's looking. So let's set these aside to dry. And let's kick up this. So I'm going to use the... I think I'm going to use the Toil Texture stamp set. Do I want to use Toil Texture? Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to grab the burlap. And now I'm going to need to use archival ink with this. So I want this to be, we'll go with black. I think it'll show up. So I'm going to use archival because this will dry on top of the paint. The green is giving you Star Wars vibes, like Yoda. Okay, so I'm going to just, we'll just stamp on. This will be quite vibrant. Get a second generation. And we'll just stamp down here. You're not going to see it, but just so you can see. So there's what we've got so far, just for texture. And I'm going to clean. Actually, not a smart idea. I just use the texture paste one. Let's clean that with a clean wipe. Okay. Karen says Kevin is bored. He should be crafting along. I think Kevin is still recuperating from his online class he just did. Okay. With snow. Okay. And, you know, maybe we should use, does everybody remember when we did the collage paper? Why don't we add a little bit of collage paper? Do I want to do that? Is there anything? Yeah, let's do some of that. I just ripped the piece I wanted. So I'm just going to rip. Okay. Okay, so I think, do I want to stick that on? probably not going to see. I'm going to just put it there. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to grab my brush again. I'm going to grab some of my Distress Collage Medium. Just get the brush. I'm going to just coat, and let's just stick this on. And I'd like some crinkle action if I could get it. Okay. And this is also a great way to seal your piece too, if you're using something that's maybe water reactive. Okay, I'm going to put this brush in water right away. And let's clean this up, which is the one with that's the texture paste. So anybody have any questions right now? Okay, and I think we'll let these sit to dry, and we'll stamp out some images. So we'll see, I'll show you what we've got. All right, so we've got, this shouldn't take too long to dry. We've got this, and we've got this. So that's a start. So let's set these things aside. Oh yeah, we've got our base. We'll set those aside to dry. Let's stamp out. So I'm going to grab some hammer mill. Let me just move over to this chat. Oops, why is it all the way? Sorry, friends, I just got to go down. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to grab some hammer mill. I'm going to grab my Misty. And I need to cut this in half. Does anyone have questions? Let me know. So I'm going to put this in my Misty. Oops, I didn't get it in quite right. Okay. Okay. So I know I want my witch's hat. So I'm going to grab that. We'll stamp that. We'll start with that. Okay, so I'm going to grab, let's do, so I'm going to use these colors on the witch's hat. So I have seedless. Do I want to do seedless? Do I want to do villainous potion? Where is my villainous potion? You know what? I'm going to do villainous potion. I'm going to go with villainous potion, black soot, and worn lipstick. So I'm going to just stamp some of my worn lipstick. Okay. And you know what? Do I have... where is my oxide? I'm going to go use my brush of my oxide and just apply this. I'm going to go in with the pink in oxide. Just to blend it all. Okay, and I want this to be extra pink. And then after, I'm going to add the black. Let's just see what happens. Very cool. Now we'll add our black. Okay, and I'm just using black soot, and I'm going to just soften with my blending brush. Very cool. I think I need more of the villainous potion. Again, soften. And I think I'm going to add a bit more over the pink just to tone that down ever so slightly. And we'll go back with the black soot. I know, isn't the hat yummy? It's just a gorgeous, these are gorgeous images. Yes, okay. Here's what we got. And I am just thinking out loud. Let's see what happens if we add some distress. Let's use, I'm going to use some of this iridescent ice. So it should stick to it. Yes, it did. Okay, I gotta find a piece of paper to put this in. Hold on, folks. Okay. Okay, let me grab my heat gun. Are we ready for the magic of heat embossing? Just going to file this back into the jar. Okay, let me get this warmed up. Actually, before I'm going to cut this off because it'll warp my paper. Sorry, I'm everywhere, friends. Okay. Okay. Okay, I love this hat even more. Look at, it's got some sparkle, some magic. Perfect. Okay, so we've got that. Happy with that. Set that aside. Let's go back to this. And I'm probably gonna have to clean. My goodness, what a mess I've made. Yes, Kevin said, just a note, the new release for October drops Friday. It's a fun release. It's always been in my heart. And that's a hint. Okay, I want to do, let's do the broom. I believe, yes, the broom. Okay, so let's stamp the broom in some scattered straw. Actually, do I want to do, yeah, we'll do scattered straw, the whole thing in scattered straw. And we'll do some vintage photo. And we'll do some black. No, let's do, what's that new brown one? Scorched Timber? Yes. And a little bit of black soot. And we'll just, and I'll probably have to go in and just let's do some of this. Cut. Okay, there's our broom. I want a little bit more of the scattered straw. And yeah, I think the rest we can add some goodness to after. Where did I put my witch hat that I just made? Oh, here. Okay. All right, so let's clean that up. And then let's go to the Toil and Texture. And we'll do this guy. I love this one. And let's just do this in, we'll do a couple of layers of stamping. We'll do some worn lipstick, some villainous potion, and black soot. Okay. And we'll go over it with worn lipstick. Yes, I like that. That's good, I think. And maybe just a touch of black soot around the edges. Kevin wants to know if you're liking the new stamp and mixed media, and if they should be making more background and texture stamps. I'm gonna just go with my blending brush. Okay, that's perfect. Let's clean this up. Yes, Kevin, more background and texture stamps. I love mixed media. Okay. And if you could all do us a favor, if you aren't subscribed to the Stamp Anything YouTube channel, please make sure to do that. Please like this video and share it if you can too. It would be a huge help to help us grow. So the last thing I want to do is I want to use the Witching You Well. So I am going to... Yay, I'm glad, Trey. Okay. All right. So I think to start with this, we need something to pull. Let's go with, let's see, what do we got here? So we've got, this is going to be our background. We've got that, and that. Maybe we will do a green to tie the green in. Let's do that. So let's go with Twisted Citron, Pine Needles, and Black Soot. So I'm going to start with Twisted Citron. Then we'll go in with Pine Needles. And back with Twisted Citron to just help blend. And some Black Soot just because. Let's see what we get. Okay, and we need to make the Witching You a bit darker. Like that. We'll go in with some of the green. Yes, yes, yes. And maybe the over here. Okay, and we'll go back with the green. It's just kind of going between colors here. Yeah. Okay, and we'll just press. I'm glad you guys really love the stamps. Jana, Julie, Trey, Karen. It is, Karen. It's very freeing, mixed media. I think, you know, like I said last week, we get so into, there's these rules and in mixed media, and there really shouldn't be in card making either rules. If at the end of the day, you've created something you're happy with, then that's all that really matters. Mission accomplished. Okay. Let's cut these guys out. I'm just going to set this aside. So we've got, we'll grab the dies wherever I put them. And I got to find where I put my tape. Here it is. Let's hope this comes together. Okay, so we've got a witch's hat that's nice and glittery. It's probably overkill with the tape. I didn't realize they had so much. Okay, and we need the Witching You Well. Gosh, I kind of wish I would have embossed this one, but it's probably too late. Okay, and we need that yummy texture piece. Is this the right way? I believe so. I love these texture backgrounds. Jana is saying, I think I might need this creation. Oh gosh, don't worry, Trey. Also, please forgive the newbiness, but are there tutorials on how to use the Memory Dex? I have not gotten any dies till this set. Like how to use the dies, Trey, or how they work. Because I will, I die cut one out, and I'll show you how to put it together for sure tonight even. Okay, and the broom. Okay, so let's run these through my die cut machine. I love that sound of dies going through the die cutting machine. All right. Oops. Okay. So we've got our witch's hat with the lovely texture. I wish I would have done more on the others. We've got our witching you well. And you know what? I think I am going to cut out a few more layers of the witching you well, just blank pieces. We've got our broom and our background piece. Let me just set these aside. So I do not throw them out or do something stupid. How to assemble. Yep, I will definitely. We're going to make one tonight, Trey. Okay. And well, I don't know if my die cut machine, I don't know if these will cut this. I think this might be a bit too thick. Let me grab my thinner chipboard. I don't know if Anne still sells the chipboard, but it is honestly the best chipboard. It's like a thinner chipboard, and you can die cut it. If I can find it. Yeah, it's like this thin. This is the chipboard I use to make my Memory Dex die. This is probably like 1/8 of an inch, and I don't know what this would be. But the stuff that Anne has is like awesome. You can cut out a word die. I'll show you what I'm going to do first. So I'm just going to run this through my die cut machine maybe 3 or 4 times. So give me a second. And we will be having a completed Memory Dex shortly. So I'm just going to run this through. So I've got one piece cut out. Two, I think I'm going to go for 4. And you'll see why in a sec. That was 3, and I'm just going to run this one through a 4th time. Okay. Let me just put this die where it won't get lost. Okay. So I have 4 backgrounds. So I'm going to layer all of these up. I'm not sure if I want to distress these images this time or not. I'll look after, but let's just, so I'm just layering the chipboard pieces on top of each other. Now, who here has done Memory Dex before? I should bring that up. And who hasn't? I thought you need a yellow paper to cut out the Memory Dex background. Yes, that is this piece is what I used. That's going to be my base, and everything will make sense in a second. Hello, Carmen. How are you? Hello, hello in Alaska. Welcome, welcome. What time is it there? Are you like 4 hours from me? It's 8:47 here. Are you like 4:47? So, Gianna, you have done Memory Dex before? I am obsessed with the Memory Dex lately. I just really enjoy making them. And my purpose is more like I like doing memory keeping. So here is 4 pieces, and you can see it creates a little bit of heft and texture. So I'm going to layer this right on here, which creates a really nice, thick, and sturdy title. You're getting back to doing them now, Karen? Oh, Kevin says he thinks it's 3:48 there in Alaska. Okay, so you can see this creates a really cool, thick, nice die cut. If only I would have cut it out better, but it's handmade. All right, let me just clean up and get some of this stuff out of the way. All right, so let's put together our Memory Dex, or start putting together a Memory Dex. So when you cut this out, where is my piece so I can show? This is this piece here. I just cut that out. And what I love, Anne has designed it so that there is the holes to pop the little pieces out that get stuck. So we have cut this into, I just did craft cardstock because I knew if I would have just cut this out of my, this background, it would have looked like this by the time I put it together because I have to flip this over, right? So there's the tabs. So I'm going to flip it, push the tabs in, and just press it. If Anne, I'm not sure if Anne's still on here, but Kevin can definitely double check later if she still sells the chipboard. This is kind of my thought for my project today. So I wanted the front or the back panel to have this, and then I'm going to change this to an arch. So I'm going to glue this piece right on top. And then I'm kind of envisioning this in here that comes out, and you can journal on the back or whatever if you want. my witch's hat, a broom, and maybe the sentiment type thing is kind of what I'm thinking. So let's just, okay, and I think this is dry now, so I'm going to just take my brush and brush the excess of the glitter off that didn't stick. Okay. And before we start gluing together, I want to do a little bit more. So with this, I want to take some of my distress crayons, and I think I'm going to use some, just a brown. This one's walnut stain. And we've got some nice texture here. So I'm just going to scribble it on and then rub and push it around. Now, what's nice about the distress crayons, if you don't like how much you got, water will remove it. So I want to make sure I emphasize these edges of the paper. Not that you're going to see all of this. Okay. We'll go in with maybe a little bit of white. Give some highlights. Okay. Not going to really see a ton of this. And then we can do the same even with our spider web. Maybe I want to add some white. And everything, if you don't like how it looks, you can just use water and remove it. So let's, and actually I've got a piece of paper in here. I've got to get out. Okay. Okay, so let's start putting this together, see what we've got. So I'm going to take this piece and I need to glue it to the inside of my pocket. Would be better if you had a more liberal glue stick that wants to throw out more glue. Okay. So let's put that down. Okay. And now with these, if you have like a fine score tape, sometimes it's better to use a score tape. I'm just, for the sake of this, I'm going to just use glue, but it's better if you use a score tape or a really strong adhesive. Okay. Just going to hold this in place. Okay, and now I'm going to put this piece on here. And again, using this fine tip glue gun probably isn't the best. But I don't want to have to wait to... And all these pieces, like this piece, we just use to create the... Where is my one Memory Dex? I can't even find it from last week. We just created that one simple front piece, or that was a separate piece on its own. And now I'm going to use it to create a curve on here. Okay. So I'm liking how that's looking. Now we need to decide. I want this to go in there. Got some tape on here. This to go here. I think we definitely need to distress these images. Should I leave them white or do what we did last week where I add a bit of, let me see if I could find where I put them. Oh, here. Where's the other one? Should we see how this is really white? Should I age them? Let me know. But see, this piece that I glued essentially to the front of this you can use it on its own too. Let me know, friends, if you think we should distress this piece. Distress them, Valerie says. All right. So I'm going to use just my antique linen. Or do I want to use antique linen? Yeah, we'll use antique. I'll probably go in with some antique linen and vintage photo. And a little bit of black soot. So was anybody tonight creating along with me, or were you all just watching and taking it in? Okay, I'm going to use some vintage photo next. Okay, just okay, and a little bit of regular distress in black soot, creating with me tray. And everyone, if you've been making anything using these goodies, please share it in the Stamp Anything Stampers group or on social media and tag Stamp Anything so we can see and admire. Okay. I can't wait to see what you do, Julie. All right, so I'm going to take this piece and just put it in there. And there's probably gunk on the back, but you could, like I said, you can affix it in place if you want, like keep it here and keep this as a pocket, or just kind of pop it in as a journaling piece that you can pull in and out. Maybe attach a piece of vellum. All right, and let's glue our witch's hat on. So kind of have that following the shape, like so. Karen, tonight just watching and taking it all in. We'll craft tomorrow. I cannot wait, Karen. Okay, we'll apply this broom. Just make sure we have it. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's apply the broom. And this might be smart. This broom is kind of thin. It might be smart to back it on some chipboard or thicker cardstock. Okay. I love liquid glue because it gives you time to move things around. And then we'll do this witching you well. All right. So there we go. Yay, I'm glad you like it, Valerie. So here is our first gel plate memory decks for today. And we have a back piece, your back piece, and I'm going to actually cut the excess off. Okay, there we go. There we are. So gel plate, texture paste. We use some of our collage paper we made, which is kind of nice because if you take this out or if you don't want to put this piece in, we still have some really cool interest behind there for tucking or whatever. You could put a photo right on here if you wanted. I'm so glad you like it, Julie. So let's look at what we've done so far. So this was last week. We just used the Memory Dex on its own, that arched piece. We added our collage paper, ink smushing, some stenciling. So the actual Dex card doesn't need to be made from chipboard to be sturdy enough. Nope, this is just, this one is about 100-pound cardstock. This was the mixed media paper. This one is just an 80-pound cardstock, and because you're doubling it up, plus the cardstock, this one's quite hefty as well. So yeah, we've got our other from last week. This is just using the tall Memory Dex on its own. We can always embellish something on the back. And now we have our Memory Dex using our gel plate. So we've got some, look at these all go very well together. So I'm going to just take this out of this box for now. So here is a Memory Dex box that I was showing I made. Let's just pop them all in. Okay, so here we go. We've got Creep It Real. You've got Spirit. And, oops, I moved it forward. And Witching You Well. So I'm going to take these out now. And they come out. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to make a quick card using this one. Just going to blow off or get off the excess. You vote for a Christmas set, please, Valerie. All right. And I think with this one, maybe we'll just use a sentiment, keep it really simple. What do you guys think of that? So with this one, I want to use a little bit of the distress crayon in the black soot. Just gonna mess this up. We'll just put it around because we're going to be smushing it out. Because I really do. I love the sentiments in this that come with. Okay. Well, Annie and I have begun talking about the possibility of doing a sequel to this for another season. Definitely won't be Christmas, but maybe next year, Valerie. And if you would like this, your input means a lot. So just let us know. So I'm going to cut, so this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So let's do this 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. I think we'll take off a bit from each side. Okay. All right. So we've got our card front. I am going to grab, I'm just going to look for some paper. I have quick access to. Let's use this. If I can get it out. Okay, let's just take a piece of this for my card front. Okay, perfect. So I'm thinking this and maybe a border of some black. Matting of black. Let's do that. So I'm going to just put this right on this piece so I can get a nice. And while I'm doing this, friends, I want you to pick the sentiment that is going to go on the front. So let me know in the comments which sentiment to use on the front of this. I'm so glad, Julie. That means a lot. Thank you. Okay. So I'm just going to cut this out and get that quite enough. Okay, and a little bit needs to come off of this. And I think that's good enough. Okay, so we put that on. And did we decide on a sentiment for this? Happy haunting. Okay. Valerie was the first to respond, so let's go with it. I'm going to grab my Misty. Oh, geez, I got this all. Oh, whatever. It's going to be distressed anyway. I got dirty fingers. This is the thing. You want to make sure your hands are clean. Mine are certainly quite dirty right now. Okay. But you know what? This is going to add to the look. So let's go for, and I even got it all over this too. Well, there's two sides to paper, so we'll use that. Okay. Let's go with a nice teal. We'll go with peacock feathers. Something's calling crushed olive to me, and we'll do black soot. I'm going to use these three with the sentiment. So we'll start with crushed olive. And I'm just going to, we'll pick some of it up, I think. And we'll do some peacock feathers. Let's see what happens. Where's my presser? Yes, dirty fingers are a sign of a happy time, especially with mixed media, that's for sure. And let's grab some black soot. And I think I want the haunting, if I can, to be all in black. And let's go in with some peacock feathers again. So I want that to be a bit more prominent. Yeah, that's good. That'll do. Okay, let's just... Okay, so I am going to die cut that out. Where's my happy haunting? Is this it? Yes, it is. Jenna, I agree with Julie. I love watching you create, and I have been learning so many new things with you and Kevin these last few weeks. I am so glad. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for all your kind comments, and the ones I received after my class last week. That meant a lot. Okay, I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Now, ideally, I'd also do a couple more of those chipboard pieces, but I would like this class to not run 3 hours tonight for everybody's sake. Okay. My gosh, it is a literal disaster in the office right now, let me tell you. Okay, let me just put this back and get this piece of tape off. I need to get some proper tape to hold my... Now I am having another idea. I'm wondering about using... No, I'm going to keep it simple. I was going to say, should I stamp? I could on tone, actually. Maybe I will do that. Let's do a tone on tone stamping. using the burlap. And I am, what do I want to do? We'll see what happens when we use peacock feathers. It's pretty, it's pretty similar, but that might be a good thing because I don't want this to be too distracting. Yeah, that's great. This is perfect. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going to create my own textured background. Let's just get a bit there and there. Okay, this is perfect. What's in store for the next class, Julie wants to know? Well, we're going to be creating some fun 3D elements. It'll be a shorter class for sure, but look at that. Can we see? I'm glad I did that. It kind of just kicks it up a notch using the thing as a background. Now this definitely needs to be popped up. I think next year we should add a day onto the retreat of mixed media. You should come to the Canadian retreat, Jana and Julie. Then I can see you guys. So I'm just going to apply some foam tape onto the back of this. I'm not going to be okay, let's stick this down as close as we can get. Okay, and then I'm going to just, where are my ones I use to distress? Okay, we'll distress this just a bit. So that was antique linen, vintage photo, and where's my, we'll just use black soot, whatever is left on it. It's a bit too clean for my liking, too white. There we go. Let's pop that up. Our retreats are amazing, Trey. This one that's coming up is Kevin and Annie are going to be teaching it in Orlando, Florida. It's sold out. Usually our retreats sell out pretty quick. And this one is going to be themed to the Muppets. And the sets are freaking adorable. I had a Crafty friend over on the weekend, and she accidentally saw the stamp sets for the retreat, and she died. She loved them. All right, so where do I want to place this? I think I'm going to have this kind of popping off over here, kind of in the center of the spider web. And then to finish this off, I feel like we need some more of those gemstones we used. You're welcome to Jana. Of course you wouldn't want to leave because Canada is amazing. And we'd love to have you. thinking, you know what? I don't know if I like the gems. I feel like the flat discs would be better for this. And then that would finish it off. Where are my flat discs? Here they are. I'm going to just put these back. Yes, I have a feeling my head will be on a stick this this retreat. We were joking about that. Okay, I'm going to use these flat discs. I think these are better. Yeah, that just gives a little something, something. Just going to do 3, keep it simple. Not every card needs to have a gazillion pieces. So let's glue those down. And what I wish I would have done again is heat embossed over top of that with a clear embossing powder. That would have been amazing, given a bit of shine. All right, and because I got a bit of black around the outside edges, I'm going to use some oxide and we'll just dirty around this, make it look like it's meant to be. There we go. So our 2 projects tonight, a nice simple happy haunting card and a witching you well memory decks. So here are our projects we've created so far in the class. We've got 1, 2, 3 memory decks and 2 greeting cards. So I thank you all for joining tonight, and we will see you in a couple weeks. I won't be on next Monday because it is Canadian Thanksgiving, but I believe it is the Monday after. Is that the 20th? I think is when I'm back, and we're going to be creating 3 or 4 things. Yes, the Memory Dex is to die for. And look at friends, we did it under 3 hours, 2 hours and 23 minutes. So thank you all who stayed through it all. If you have any questions or anything, just shoot Annie, Kevin, or myself a message. We'd be happy to answer them. Thank you all so much for your support, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.